There's something deeply relatable about a woman who appears to have it all, yet underneath the glitter, she's lost. In Uptown Girls, 2003, we meet Molly Gunn, a whimsical, carefree socialite living in a fantasy world built on her late rock star father's fame and fortune. But when that world crumbles, Molly is forced to face the one thing she's always avoided: herself. This isn't just a story about growing up, it's about unraveling, confronting pain, and slowly piecing yourself back together. This is Darcy from Ladies First, watching women in movies. Here, we empower women by reviewing and discussing films that highlight their stories, struggles, and growth. And today, we're talking about a woman who had absolutely nothing figured out until she found her power in the most unexpected way. At the start of Uptown Girls, Molly is the ultimate free spirit. She lives in a dreamy New York apartment, hosts wild parties, and treats life like a never-ending fairy tale. But there's no real direction, no purpose, just avoidance. She clings to her childhood because growing up would mean facing the grief of losing her parents, the emptiness of her lifestyle, and the painful realization that no one is coming to save her. When her inheritance disappears overnight, Molly's illusion shatters. Suddenly, she has to work, to be responsible, to show up in a world she's never taken seriously. She becomes a nanny to Ray, a fiercely intelligent, emotionally guarded 8-year-old who seems more mature than Molly herself. Ray is the complete opposite of Molly, structured, rigid, afraid of chaos. But she's also carrying her own pain, and she copes by controlling everything around her. Their relationship begins with tension. Ray thinks Molly is ridiculous. Molly thinks Ray is uptight. But slowly, something beautiful happens. Through their clumsy, awkward connection, they start to teach each other. Molly learns to show up even when it's uncomfortable. Ray learns to let go, to be silly, to feel. Molly's journey isn't neat. It's messy. She stumbles, she fails, but she keeps trying. And somewhere in that struggle, she starts to rebuild, not just her life, but her sense of identity. There's a quiet power in that. It's not about becoming perfect. It's about becoming real. Molly goes from a woman who couldn't even pay her bills to someone who confronts hard truths, owns her mistakes, and starts creating a life that's hers, not one inherited, not one imagined. She discovers she doesn't need to be someone's daughter or someone's project. She just needs to be Molly. Authentically, imperfectly Molly. And that's where her power begins. Because here's the thing about women empowerment. It's not always about bold speeches or grand victories. Sometimes it's about subtle shifts. Choosing to grow, choosing to care, choosing to show up for someone else, and eventually for yourself. Molly Gunn represents a different kind of strength. Not the kind that's polished and confident from the start, but the kind that emerges through vulnerability, discomfort, and change. And that's why she belongs in the conversation about women empowerment. Because her growth reminds us that finding yourself is not a straight line. It's not always graceful, but it's worth it. And it can start at any point, even when you feel like you've got nothing figured out. What Uptown Girls really captures is the often unspoken truth that maturity doesn't arrive all at once. It creeps in through quiet moments of courage, like choosing to apologize or choosing to try again after failing. Molly doesn't transform overnight, and that's what makes her story resonate. Her evolution isn't marked by a single act, but by dozens of small choices to be better, to be braver, to be present. It's a reminder that growth isn't linear or loud. It's a slow burn, a quiet revolution within. And for so many women, that's what strength actually looks like: soft, steady, and beautifully unfinished. What did Uptown Girls teach you about growth, identity, or letting go of perfection? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs to be reminded that it's okay not to have it all together. This is Darcy from Ladies First, where we celebrate women finding their voice, even if it takes a little chaos to get there. See you in the next one.